for mature and part-time students at Leeds University, the University of Leeds. We run various courses like the two that you're going to get a bit of a flavour for tonight. We also support all the mature and part-time students who are studying across the whole university. And in our team, in communities and partnerships that Greg and I work in, we do a lot of work going out to see groups of adults in colleges or community bases, just to make people aware of the opportunities that there are to come back into education at any point. So we're very lucky to have a support structure at Leeds University for adults who might have been out of education for a while, just to support you to come back in and make the most of that opportunity, because we feel really strongly that adults should have that opportunity at any stage of life, and we'll bring all kinds of life experience and work experience that will be really relevant, all sorts of skills, and we want to help them to get the most out of the experience. So tonight we'll be introducing you to these programs that I've mentioned, but at the end we'll also do a little bit of signposting to some other sources of support that you might want to access to through the Lifelong Learning Centre, and I'll tell you about some future events as well. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now because I think we should hear from some of our students who very kindly joined us here this evening. So we've got Suma and Tracy and Maryam and Pete. And I think we've got about 15-20 minutes to hear just a couple of minutes from each of you, and then hopefully we'll have time for some questions. And so we will start with Suma, if that's okay, because Suma's been a learning champion for many, many years. And if it's all right, if anyone has any preference, you can drop me a quick message and I'll do a schedule that's different to this. But I'm going to suggest Suma, Tracy,
Yep.
Maryam and Pete. Is that okay for an order? You can
Okay.
message me in the background if you'd rather do anything different. Right, over to you, Suma.
Hi, my name is Suma. My higher education journey started when both my girls were in high school. I decided to go back to work, couldn't find a job. I started to feel really, really small, insignificant. However, as luck would have it, I met Fiona, and from the LLC, from the Lifelong Learning Centre. And she suggested attending Jumpstart, which is a tester session. And from that point on, I decided I just got engaged. I enjoy the whole learning concept. So I did my preparation for higher education with Lynn, and I went on to do my professional studies with Catherine. But all along the way, I kept thinking someone's going to knock me on the shoulder and say, "Out you go! You don't belong here." Out you go! But I made it. I've done my professional studies, and I've graduated. I've done my master's degree as well. Along the way, I have to say thank you to Lifelong Learning Centre for the support they've given me, to fulfill my journey, my learning journey. The support they gave were from career advice, finance, disability service, which I have dyslexia, so that was such a that was a help. That's something that you don't get it anywhere. And all this kind of added to a toolbox, which I'm sure Lynn will tell you about. When I did my PhD, Lynn kind of told us, you kind of learn everything you need to know about academic studies, because and you kind of build a toolbox in your brain, kind of compartmentalize, and you kind of call it toolbox, education toolbox, and you just keep putting things in there. And for me, I've always carried that toolbox in my brain. Yep, I've just said I've completed. The most valuable thing I gained from studying at university is developing confidence and believing in myself. That's something that you kind of pick up, and as you go along, as you learn. I mean, Catherine has a module that's contemporary issues, and I just love that module, and I kind of wish I could do more. And that's why I did my master's degree in social and political thought, because I wanted to get a bit more into contemporary issues. Being a lifelong learner and a parent come with its own challenges, commitments, family commitments, attending parent-teacher meetings. You got to schedule that in your week as you learn. You've got to, kind of think, right, I got a deadline tomorrow. Today I better do this. And then you kind of start to work out little shortcuts, I call it. Like when you're ironing, you kind of watch a YouTube video or a TED talk, or is it Radio 2, Lynn? Radio 2?
Or Radio 4. Radio 4. We always have Radio 4 in the background.
I got that wrong. Sorry. Anyway, I kind of, just to have an idea, and also when I took my girls, I mean, being mom's taxi service, whenever I took my daughters to any events and I have to wait there, I kind of take my reading with me. So I do all my reading while they're out there doing their thing. So yeah, and also cooking. I mean, I used to make spaghetti bolognese, and then the next day I'd put some kidney beans and turn it into chili con carne. They have no idea. It's food for them, and then it just looks different, and they're happy with it. So you just find ways of integrating your studying and your life, basically. Trying to get everything going, and if I were to do it, if I had the chance to do it again, I would, because I know that the support is there for me if I had to do it again. So, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Suma. That was fantastic, and some really useful tips and tricks there for making the most of your time, and just that. I think it's really valuable, isn't it, to hear from real, actual human beings who have done this, particularly fitting it around family and other responsibilities. And it's so impressive that you completed not just Jumpstart preparation for higher education, but also professional studies and a master's degree. So well done you on all your achievements. And thanks for coming back and giving us time as well. Okay, so please do stay with us for a little bit if you can, because there might be questions, but I'm going to hand over to Tracy now. So Tracy, you're right to tell us a little bit about your journey.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Have you frozen?
In my final year. Oh, I'm back again. Can you hear me? Sorry, I just dropped out there. Yeah, I dropped out there. I think I'm back. Yeah, so professional studies. I'm in my final year, currently doing my dissertation. And yeah, what can I say? I'm just looking at these pointers here. So I came straight into the university. I didn't do any foundation or PHSE. I did the pathway, the access one. I can't forget what it's called now. Maybe Olivia can tell you. So yeah, so I got a bit of help with that, and I came straight in. My background, I left school without any qualifications. Yeah, I left school without any qualifications. I did part of an MVQ, and then I became a mum when I was 17. So that's pretty much kind of been me being a mum, and just gone into business and into employment. And it was actually during COVID. I'm a business owner. I've got a business partner, and obviously during COVID, everything shut down, and it was quite a scary time, I guess, for everybody. Particularly being a self-employed business owner, I am very mature. I'm actually 51 now. So what was it? Yeah, I was like 48 maybe when I started doing this degree. And I was just thinking, at my age, if I needed to go into an employment, I would struggle. I'd really struggle, and that's when I started kind of looking into maybe doing some kind of higher education. I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I came along to one of the summer schools. I was just browsing. I think it was on Facebook or something, and I seen this summer school for University of Leeds, and I thought, well, that looks interesting, but there's absolutely no way is that for me. Somebody like me, single parent mum that's not particularly academic, she's never going to be able to go to University of Leeds. I mean, that's too prestigious, definitely, and I just didn't think it was available, not for me, because I had a desire, from being very young. I always had a desire to get an education. I just didn't think that somebody like myself would be able to access University of Leeds. So I went along, and I think Lynn's on here, actually. Lynn and Catherine were at the summer school, and Olivia. And it was fantastic. It was so relaxing. It was fun. I spoke to students that were currently on the course, students that had left, and it was just a great experience. And it really motivated me. I was like, I think I might be able to do this. I think I might be able to do this. And I just, I was like, what have I got to lose? What have I got to lose? If I get in, I get in. What if I don't, I don't. But and that's what I did. I applied, and it was very late. I think it was something like in the June. And then I was studying, by October, I was in. That's it, I'm in. I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck? What is going on? But the thing is, that help never stops. That help and that encouragement is constant. It's absolutely constant. And I did really, really struggle at school. And at the University of Leeds, I got a little bit of help, and I was diagnosed with dyspraxia. So I've had a lot of support for that. The disabled students, I get help through them, and Lifelong Learning Centre is incredible. Not just the teaching staff, but just all the support staff in there are just incredible. So yeah, it's I'm a single parent mum. I've got an older son now who's 33, who doesn't live with me, but I co-parent 2 younger children who are 15 and 14. Obviously, I've got my business as well. And I did do volunteer. I did a lot of stuff when I first came in, and I thought I'd be able to juggle it all. But you know what? You can't. As time goes on, you realise it's not possible to do everything, and it really isn't. And I did have to give up my volunteering, and try and kind of fit everything around. And I've been able to manage. It has been manageable. It's not easy. It isn't easy, and that is the truth. But it can be done, and it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding, and I've had so many opportunities to do other things. So I gave up my volunteering, but in the summer of this year, I went to South Africa to do leadership teaching and coaching with children from rural villages, and that was all through the university. So that was a life-changing experience. It really was. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what else to say really, but it's been an incredible journey. I'm loving every minute. I mean, a master's sounds fantastic, but right now I just need to get through my essays. I'm just like, I'm actually on a deadline right now. I've got one to get in the next 2 days. But I love it. The journey's been fantastic. I really enjoy learning, and I probably will be sad when it ends, actually, I think. Well, I'm saying now that I won't, and I can't wait to just, but I'm sure I will, because it's been a fantastic journey, and everybody that I've met is fantastic, and they've just made it so much more special. I've made so many friends, probably friends for life, actually, and, in the university and outside the university. And yeah, I'm not sure what else to share, but I'll shut up and leave it there.
That's perfect. Thank you very much, Tracy. What a brilliant summary of an amazing journey. And I'm so glad you got to do that South Africa experience. What an incredible opportunity. Thanks for sharing the brilliant blog, Greg, that Tracy wrote about that. So the link is there in the chat if you want to know more about that particular adventure. Catherine, did you want to come in?
I just the wrong thing. I was trying to clap and I put my hand up, so ignore me.
We've all done that. Don't worry.
It.
It's really inspiring to hear your journey, Tracy, and thanks for giving up time when you've got a deadline as well. So, stay for as long as you feel you want to, but when you need to get off, we completely understand. Thank you. Right, I'm going to hand over to Maryam now, if that's okay. Are you all right to come and share a little bit of your experience, Maryam?
Yes, please. Hi, this is Maryam. Actually, I'm going to share my experience briefly as I'm in year 1 in professional studies, and I don't have enough experience like Tracy and other lady. And
Maryam, just to say, we can't see you. Is your camera still not working, or were you able to get it working before?
What about now?
No, we can't see you. Oh, yes, we can see you now.
Sorry,
Lovely.
I didn't consider.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I came to professional study straight, and I didn't pass PhD and foundation year, and that's why I didn't have enough self-confidence. And English is my second language, and but I after COVID, I actually see myself always reading and listening to podcasts about human being and something like this, and and I really like to start university, but I didn't know which course is appropriate for me. And I sent an email to university, and they joined me to Denise, and she's brilliant, and she helped me a lot. She supported me, and she introduced me this course, professional studies, and sent me catalog of this. And I had a look, and I found it very interesting. And I said, "Oh, it is exactly the thing I'm looking for." That one, and I really enjoy every sessions of the course, and really interesting subjects, topics, and I had lots of support from Catherine and Denise and other ones. And it was as a good opportunity for me to be familiar with new people, and I really enjoy spend time with my classmates, and we have really nice time, and that's it. And yeah.
I'm having trouble unmuting myself. That was wonderful, Maryam. Thank you very much. Can I ask you a
Thanks
question?
for having me.
Do you feel that anything has changed for you as a result of starting university?
Sorry.
It's fine. That it just shows us that life goes on around you.
I'm worried at first because please, I'm sorry. I come back.
Don't worry. What we might do is we'll bring Pete in if that's okay. But that's great, isn't it? Because it's a real life demonstration of people really do have lives and plenty things going on, including children a lot of the time. And they still manage to study. So it's more inspiring to get an insight into that. Pete, over to you now.
Thanks, Olivia. Yeah, I'm Pete. Currently studying full-time in my first year with professional studies through the Lifelong Learning Centre. Going back to 2023, found myself at a bit of a crossroads in life and in a career, and I had no idea what to do with myself, if I'm perfectly honest. Throughout my adult life, I'd struggled and continue to struggle with mental health difficulties, especially anxiety. But anyway, somebody close to me suggested that maybe I should go to university and go and learn. I laughed at the thought and the idea initially, and I thought surely that was going to be beyond my capabilities, not so much maybe in an academic way even, but just because of the mental health stuff. But anyway, the long story short is I decided to sign up for the Jumpstart program with some great help from people like Olivia and people like Fiona. anxiety threatened to get the better of me on more than one occasion, but with some great help along the way, I found myself really, really enjoying learning. So the decision to carry on after Jumpstart was quite an easy one to make. It felt like a natural progression to move on to the PhE program with Lynn. Again, loads of help along the way, which was utterly amazing, and like the other guys have said, it continues to be that way. And also help from disability services. Yeah, should you need extra help in those areas, then they are there, and for me that's been a massive a massive help, and I can't suggest and recommend that enough. But yeah, going back to uni, what have I gained from it? I didn't just do it to chase a degree. I did it because I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to try and gain confidence in areas where it was lacking, and it is still lacking. And yeah, it's been a big challenge, but I've made progress, and I recognise that. And what else was I going to say to you guys? Just a little bit about balancing your studies along with everything else. As the guys have said, it is a challenge. Childcare or whatever else you've got going on alongside studying. I work part-time, and it's not easy, but it is achievable. And even though life throws some real curveballs at us from time to time, and I've currently got one being thrown at me right now, there's ways around it, and there's a lot of help out there, and always take it. Ask for it, but always take it when it comes your way, is what I would say. One maybe final thing, well, maybe two final things I would say, if you're thinking of doing this. Number one is to enjoy it. I think that's really key. I forget who said that to me when I started. Someone said, it might be stressful at times, it will be stressful at times, but enjoy it, enjoy the journey. And I mean, I am enjoying it. I'm loving every minute of it. I'm not saying it's easy. It isn't, but it's great. And the second thing I would say is read. Read a lot, because you're going to need to read a lot. I wasn't a great reader, and I'm still not a great reader, but there's a lot of reading to do. So do your reading, practice reading, and enjoy that as well. That's it from me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pete. We're really chuffed to have you with us here tonight when you've got other stuff going on, and we really appreciate you being so honest about your experience and sharing where you are on the journey. It's been amazing to hear from all of our learning champions. Maryam, you got called away when we were asking you if you felt anything had changed for you at this stage of the journey. We were saying after you went that it's lovely to see life going on around you, so don't worry about that at all. But I don't know if you had any reflections at all.
Thank you. Sorry about it. Actually, as one of my challenge, they are my kids, as I'm mom of two active primary school kids, and they are always as buzzy bees around of me. And but actually it's been as a challenge for me to time management and to do studies besides other responsibility, and but I'm happy I started because I wasn't sure. Actually, I decided in the last minute, actually, and Catherine encouraged me and sent me lots of email. It's deadline is near close, and upload some documents, and I wasn't sure because of my kids and other responsibility. But actually, yes. I will, especially in this semester, I'm learning to do proper research and academic ones, and it's really helpful. And actually, I'm doing all of module around of my favorite subjects, and that's why I enjoy maybe more than others. And today, and as I spoke with Anita as well, and I changed my subject to be close to my favorite subject, and she said it's fine. Yeah, yeah, and it's great. Yeah, yeah, and as I said, as English it's my second language. I don't have, sometimes I lost all my confidence at class, but I try to do my best, and it's as a challenge for me, but everyone is supportive, and yeah, very good.
Fantastic, Maryam. Thank you very much. It's a journey, isn't it? And I think
it is.
I really appreciate all of you being so honest about the challenges and the difficulties along the way as well, and how confidence kind of goes in and out, because it's a fluid thing, isn't it? It's not like you start at university and you're suddenly this kind of superhuman confident person. So hopefully for you guys who've taken the time to join us this evening, that gives you a little bit of a picture of you know, whatever your starting point is, wherever you are on the journey, there is support if you choose to take up some of these pathways that are open to you. I think we've had an excellent demonstration of just how busy and time poor our mature students and graduates are. So if anyone would like to and has the time to stay with us this evening, you are more than welcome to. It'd be lovely to have you. But at the same time, I just want to say thank you to all four of you for joining us. And if you need to get off and deal with those deadlines and those other things going on, please feel free to. We're so, so grateful to you for joining us and sharing your experience. Big round of applause all round. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so I hope that's been useful. I know it's really put it in perspective for me, exactly what this can look like for people. Now we're going to actually start to get a bit of a flavour of one of the programmes that we're talking about this evening, and one that Pete and Suma took before going on to the professional studies degree, which is preparation for higher education, or PHE as we colloquially call it. So over to you, Lynn, to give us a flavour of that.
Thank you very, very much, Olivia. Now, what I need you guys to do is I'm going to share my screen now and get my PowerPoint up. I need you to shout. If you can't hear or if you can't see something, just shout at me, because I'm going to lose you guys now, because my screen will become the PowerPoint. I don't want to lose you, but I have to. Okay, let's have a look. So, presenter mode, screen 2. Let's have a look if that's it. Fingers crossed, here we go. Has the screen shared for you? Is it changed?
Yeah, we can see the slides. It's not on slide. Oh, it's on slideshow now. Perfect. We're good to go.
Right, let me, I'm going to minimize you guys. So that doesn't mean to say I'm minimizing your potential or how important you all are, because you're fantastic. But I need to see the screen. So here we go. So there's me, but you already know me because I'm already on the camera. Right, so the preparation for higher education course, it's also known as the Interdisciplinary Foundation Programme, and that's what it is. It goes into many different degrees, it feeds into many different degrees across the university, and we are like a stepping stone, the foundation for you to stand on and be prepared and get prepared to become an academic on a degree programme at the University of Leeds. And that's exactly what we do. We turn you into a student and an academic. So this is what I intend to do. Olivia, how long have I got?
Let me just go back to my timetable and double check. I think we want to have a break around 7, but I'm going to check pathways. Okay, we want to have a break at 5 to 7. So you've got about 20 minutes, if that's all right.
I'm going to run with this, guys. We're going to run with this. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to explore what exactly the PHE is, including the timetable, content and the purpose of it. I kind of already said that in terms of a foundation that you can stand on and launch yourself into your degrees. I'm not going to do this now. I'm going to leave number 2 out to cut down a little time. But normally what I'll do is get you to all introduce yourselves and say why you're here this evening. Now, I have had a chat with Dion and she's given me a really, really good idea why she's here. Dion, do you mind if I just quickly say why you're here this evening to give an idea of why some people have come to tonight's session?
Yeah, of course, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so me and Diane had a bit of a chatter beforehand because we're both early birds and came into the session early. And Diane told me about her life experiences that have led her here this evening and her aspirations for the future. So she told me a bit about her past, but where she wants to be in the future. And where she wants to be in the future is working in some sort of nursing role. We think it might be mental health nursing just by having a little chat, but we're not sure at the moment. But she wants to go into a career working with people with mental health problems, learning disabilities, addiction issues, etc. So she wants to do a nursing degree. So the next stage for Dion would be to book a session in with either Mohammed or Denise, a guidance session, and Greg shared a link for that service in the chat for you, but Dion would go there next to sort of firm up a little bit her ideas about where exactly she wants to be in the future so that we start in the right place to get her there. Okay, now I'm going to suggest we've got a couple of minutes if anybody else would like to share. If anybody wants to, pop your mic on and just say, hi, my name's so-and-so and I'm here this evening because in the future I would like to be. Does anybody want to do that? And it's fingers on the buzzers. It's first one with the mic on and talking that gets in there. Anybody? Move on then. So, and then what I'm also going to do is give you an experience, a little slice of PHE so you kind of get a feel for what it is. So I'm going to tell you about the schedule for PHE and how it runs, but we're also going to have a little feel of PHE as well. Now, if you want to explore in detail what the PHE programme is, there is a link. So I'll just leave that on the screen. The slides will be shared with you. At the bottom here, if you cut and paste that and put it into your browsers, I wouldn't do it now, stay with me for now, but in your own time that will take you to the what's called a catalogue. It's a bit like the university's Amazon. You go into the catalogue for the university, it'll tell you about all the products as such that we provide, the programmes, the degree programmes and the preparation programmes, and on there is the interdisciplinary studies preparation for higher education, and it'll tell you all about the different modules of study and a little bit about the timetable and a little bit about the sort of assessments that you do throughout the year. And you can also do that for Catherine's programme as well, but she'll be telling you about that later on. So let's have a little slice. If at any point you can't hear me or you want me to stop for a minute, you need to let me know. I can't see your faces at this moment. And because I'm sharing my screen, I can't see if you've got your hands up. So Olivia and Greg, I'm relying on you guys to go, Lane, somebody's got their hand up. Is that okay?
We will, don't worry.
Thank you. Right, I'm going to ask for a shout out or in the chat, whichever you feel most comfortable with. I want to know what you call, oh, just a minute, I'm running before I can walk here. So tonight I'm going to give you a little introduction to the sociological imagination and I'm going to talk a little bit about sociology as a theory. It's one of the things we do actually teach as a module of study on the PHE programme alongside human biology. So tell me, what do you call your middle of the day food stop? Go for it. Put something in the chat. What do you call yours, Olivia?
Oh, lunch.
Lunch. Oh, you're posh.
I am.
I think I might call it brunch actually, because I kind of blend breakfast and lunch together.
Brunch was a word that wasn't allowed in our house because my dad said it wasn't a real word. So when I was growing up, we did used to call it dinner actually in Ireland, and then the evening meal was tea, but London it was just lunch and dinner.
Well, we used to call it dinner because at school you had dinner. Three meals for me, but it used to be dinner, didn't it? Got right, line up for your dinner. So let's have an example of around the world.
Right, I turn this down. You know, what did you say?
So our trust at the moment is negotiating with the agencies. The agency guy.
Am I missing something?
No, don't worry. Someone was just unmuted. Anyone else want to share what they call their midday meal? Dion, what do you call yours?
Lunch or dinner.
Lunch or dinner. Lunch or dinner is the usual one, isn't it? But go for it, Martina.
As you just said, other countries have obviously got other names. So I'm German. I call it Mittagessen.
Oh wow, Mittagessen.
Yeah.
Wow. That okay. So the Mittagessen, I really like that. I'm going to start calling me dinner that. So Martina's just shared her example that is from her background. I'm presuming, Martina, you are German.
Yes, I am.
There you go. There you go. So people from different countries or different social classes or different time periods have different names for the middle of the day food stop. So we've got social class, time periods, and countries. So just keep hold of those three concepts for now. In Peru, almuerzo is the main meal of the day, usually starting between noon and 1. So there in Peru, there's a name, almuerzo, and a specific time. Now in Bolton, to the side at Pennines, is it to the side? I think it is. A pasty barm is a favourite middle of the day food. So that's something that a lot of Boltonians will opt for their middle of the day food stop. In Australia, lunch is dinner and dinner is tea. However, tea is the favoured term for the evening meal in Yorkshire. Tea. Come and get your tea. It's very Yorkshire, isn't it? Tea. Whilst in Edinburgh, the evening meal is called supper. And very interestingly, just down the border, so across the border from Edinburgh, so you come out of Scotland and go back into England, in Carlisle, they call the evening meal sups. Bit daft, I think, but that's not. No, it's not daft, is it? So let's go on to the next one. So the point I'm making is that people from different parts of society and countries will call that meal something different. So our daily habits, i.e. what we call our meal, or what we do in terms of the middle of the day food stop, how we choose to live and communicate and define who we are, is studied by sociologists. Okay, so sociologists will look at class differences. They'll look at linguistic differences. That's names that we use, languages that we use, and they'll look at history, and they'll look at how things have changed in the way that people live their lives. So
sorry to interrupt, Lynn, just to say Martina's got her hand up. Did you want to come in, Martina? Oh, no, is it a legacy hand? It's from before. No worries. We get that a lot. That's fine. Sorry to interrupt.
You're all right, my love. It does seem to come up on my screen when somebody's hand goes up, because if you do want to put your hand up, do, because if I see it, and if not, just shout me and go, hey, I've got my hand up. So sociology is one of the modules on the PHE course, and it is a broad subject that looks at how society is organised and how we experience our life, and how, more importantly, how much control we have about the choices we make. And that's really, really, really important. Okay, let's moving on. So how do sociologists think and come up with some of the ideas that they have and they write about, and that we study as students about everyday life? Well, let's move on to another topic that sociologists might look at, and they would look at how the family functions in society. What is the role of the family in society? Do you want to, let me just try and minimise my screen a little bit, because I want to see your faces. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and come back to the main screen. That's brilliant. I can see you all again. Right, tell us. Give us some ideas about what you think the role of a family is, or maybe even what a family looks like. And I'll start us off by saying a family can be anything it wants to be. My family is my children, my dogs, and my friends. What's your family? Come on, give us an idea about your family, or what you think the role of the family is for you. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Come on, somebody tell us. What do you think the role of the family is? You've all got experience of family. You've either got families or you have some sort of experience of family, and that's what we build on PHE. We look at what experience you have and we build on it by saying, tell us what your experience is of a family or your understanding of a family, and then what we do is help you then to broaden that understanding by looking at some of the theories such as the sociological understanding of family. And as you're not going to share, I'm going to go back to this PowerPoint. I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Freddie was
We've got an idea
something
in the chat, and I think Freddie was going to say something. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. So Barbara's put in emotional support. Yes. Freddie, go for it.
Yeah. I think the family is, to say that, is kind of a link. You know, that link you got with your people around you. It's mostly around the blood link, actually. Absolutely. It depends actually on the context, but for me, because I'm from Africa, so when we say family, it's not like it's not only like me, my wife, and children. It's all of that, like my cousins and aunties, uncles. That big family. That's what we call family to us. And things like cousins or whatever is not really exists. It exists basically. But if I met somebody I would like to introduce to you, I can't say this is my cousin. I just say this is my brother or my sister, something like that. So
I understand, Freddie.
Yeah.
And so it's also we call that an extended family. So it extends out and becomes a bigger unit of people that will provide many different things, including, as Barbara's put in there, emotional support. Absolutely. Does anybody else want to share? That was lovely. Thank you so much, Freddie. Anybody else? Okay, let's move on to
Barbara's got her hand up, Lynn.
Oh, has she?
Yeah.
I can't see Barbara's hand up. Let me stop sharing my screen. Let me come up. Barbara, come on in.
Oh, hi. I just wanted to say is to the key role for family is sort of like belongingness. So if you feel like you belong, you're getting provided with love and emotion support and what have you. So that's how I think from the role of the family is, and more as the previous speaker, Freddie said.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and I think you're right, Barbara. Emotional support, and like I was saying, Ellen, it's not always about what we might see as a traditional family or an extended family. Sometimes our family is the people we choose to get our emotional support from and to give our emotional support, and that unit of togetherness. Thank you, Barbara. I really, really appreciate your input, and you too, Freddie. Now, what we'd do on PHE, if you were on the sociology module, you would discuss the family and how the family has changed over time. And the sociology tutor would then start to bring in sociological theory, academic theory. And some of the points that might be raised were that we no longer live in a world with predictable, orderly structures. So we used to have the extended family that Freddie gave us a really good example of then, or we used to have the nuclear family, which would be mum, dad, kids. But they've changed. Families have changed. The structures of families are very, very different now. They're very varied, and we have a lot more choice of who we live with and who we share our life with and who we class as family. So society's changed with many different cultures and different family structures, traditions and rituals, and sociologists study this. They study the impact, what impacts on families, what impacts on change, how those changes are lived out in people's everyday lives. So we, like I keep saying, we will draw on PHE, we draw on your lived experience and then link it to theories such as sociology and other academic theories, so that you can start to expand your academic knowledge, but you start off from your experience because you have experience, and on PHE we greatly value that experience, as do other degrees, and we use that experience to explore all the different academic ways of looking at the world around us. So people can create their individual and group identity from a wide range of choices, and that's what we also look at, and sociologists will look at. And then one of the things we have started recently to look at is new technologies such as the internet, email, electronic communication, AI, for example, artificial intelligence, and how that has not only transformed patterns of work and leisure, but also the roles that are normally conducted or have traditionally been conducted within a family. So the pace of change is incredibly fast and has been over the last 10-20 years. And so things have become a lot less predictable. Things are a lot more fluid now, and sociologists will explore that, and we also explore that on the course. The other things that can be explored through the social sciences are things like health inequality. We have people on the course who will be moving on to degrees in nursing, a bit like Dion's talked about, or midwifery, or going into social services, working as social workers, or in social care. So one sociological topic that we also discuss and explore on PHE is health inequality and the impact, what causes health inequality, but the impact of health inequality. We also look at educational inequality and the impact that has on people's lives. We look at family relationships, as we've just done. We look at gender and sexuality and sexual orientation. We look at social movements and protest and the history of social movements and protest, and how the law is changed through protest and the impact that that has on everyday life. Social class conflicts and inequalities, that is also explored. Race, nationality and ethnicity. Crime and deviance, that's a really, really interesting aspect. Everybody gets very excited about the crime and deviance aspect, but that is something in society. The law, for example, that is very much dictated, and sociologists will look at that and say, well, how does the law and notions of what is criminal and what is deviant acts impact on people and people's lives? We look at lifespan, how our lifespans change from being born to going on to wherever we go next. But the aging process, and we also look at social media, artificial intelligence, and the impact that has on society, on individuals, on communities, and also on families. So it's quite broad, is studying anology. That's just sociology I've talked to you about, but there's lots of ologies. There's psychology, there's... Give me some more ologies, Olivia and Catherine. I've run out of ologies. There must be more than two.
There's social policy,
anthropology, archaeology, psychology,
criminology.
Criminology, exactly. You were just talking about that. And just to say, Lynn, I don't know if you want to show your slides again, because there's just a couple of minutes left if you wanted to look at the programme structure before we have a quick break.
Absolutely. Can you see studying anology now?
No, we can just see you.
I know what I've done. Sorry. I have... Let me just minimise that. I forgot to share my slides again. I do, and thank you for pointing that out, Olivia.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Okay, what I'm going to do then is go to... So you should now be... I'll go back to a slideshow. Did you see that one? T. Yes.
Yeah, we saw that one.
Sociology. Family. That one?
I can't remember.
Right, yep. I'm just going to very quickly go from there. So that was all about how sociologists study how, you know, the pace of change, how family units have altered and changed, etc. Then I talked about the different ologies. So there's your little slide with all your ologies on, and you're going to get copies of all these slides. Let me go on to the next one. And that we're back to this. So studied enology. Let me now contextualise PHE in terms of what university is all about. University study is all about exploring our worlds and futures, okay? It's not about this wonderful base of knowledge that only people that come to university can grasp. It's about lives, the lives that we've lived, the lives that you've lived. And so as a mature student, you're coming with this. Suma talked about toolbox, academic toolbox. You come with an experience toolbox that we pull out those experiences as and when you wish to share, and then latch on the academic knowledge onto those. So it's about exploring your ideas from the experiences that you've had. It's about then delving a little bit deeper through reference to theories such as sociology. It's about examining, explaining, expanding knowledge about the world around us. So what we do on PHE, we support you to look at research, to look at how knowledge is created in our world, and also to be part of the future of knowledge productions, because that's what you do when you go on a degree, and particularly when you go on masters, which is the degree after a degree. You start to be the producers of knowledge, the things that people will discuss in the future and learn. So what we try and do as well is make the link between what is the social, the self, and the political. So we do get a little bit political on PHE, I'll be honest with you, we do. But we try and link who you are, what control, I mentioned control right at the beginning, you have over your life and your future, and what control society has over you, and how the two meet. Okay, so explore all that. So Olivia, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I just wondered if you could show us a little bit of the structure of the programme before we move on, because we need to have a quick break before moving on to the professional studies session. But
I'll
Martina has a question, I think.
Martina, do you want to ask your question? Have I stopped sharing the slides now? Have they gone?
Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly find out what, because I've come across access courses like at the colleges and stuff, they do them, and I was trying to understand what's the difference between your program and an access course.
They're very similar. They basically do the same thing, but with a different name and with a different. There are different funding streams for access courses than there are for foundation courses. Olivia, go for it.
And it's mostly the delivery, really. So as Lynn says, they'll often get you to the...
Oh, you froze, Olivia. That family of yours are messing with the Wi-Fi. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Year full-time course that you do at college, and you can use it to go on to a lot of different universities depending on which course you choose, such as access to health sciences. It might take you on to nursing and healthcare degrees in 4 or 5 universities. Preparation for higher education is a part-time foundation year which prepares you for degrees at the University of Leeds. So it works for a lot of adult learners because you can study it part-time on an evening and some Saturdays, but it's about preparing to do a degree at the University of Leeds rather than Bradford, Leeds Beckett or other institutions. Absolutely. If that makes sense.
I mean, people do apply to other institutions because they like the degrees better somewhere else, or they want to go somewhere else, and I'll support them to do that. But what we are is, when you start with PHE, we are already getting you ready to get onto your degree. And for some of our students, they are interviewed with PHE to go on to the degree. So they start the PHE knowing that once they've completed PHE at a certain level, they will get onto the degree. But the course runs 2 evenings a week. So at the moment it's Wednesday and Thursday evening, 6 till 9 p.m. in the evening. Wednesdays are online, Thursdays are on campus. You've then got a Saturday daytime where you're on campus. They start the first week. So when the course starts, it's the last week of September, you're in that last Saturday of September, and then you have a Saturday in October, and then there's one Saturday every 3 weeks throughout the year when you come onto campus from 10:30 till approximately 2:30, 3 o'clock, depending on how we get through stuff. So it's a part-time course that is also part delivered online and part face-to-face on campus. We have 2 pathways within it, so it's cut into 2 what's called semesters. So the first semester runs from September through to January, and that's where we do the work with turning you into a scholar and an academic. Okay, and you study information literacy, data literacy, and academic and personal development, which basically introduces you to academic reading, writing, research. Then you come back after the break in January and start semester 2, and that's where we have 2 pathways, and you either do human biology or the sociology module. So those are modules of knowledge that prepare you for the knowledge that you're going to encounter on the first year of your degree, and it depends which degree you go on. So if you're going on to midwifery, for example, it'd be human biology. If you want to be a social worker, it would be the sociology module. If you want to go to professional studies, it would be the sociology module. Go for it, Fiona.
Olivia, even close enough.
Oh gosh, I haven't done that for a while.
Don't worry. Thanks very much, Lynn. That was really helpful to give a bit of a breakdown. At the end, I'll give you some signposting to our advice and guidance service. So if anyone would like to book in and have a bit of a chat about their options, and you can weigh up things like that, whether an access course or the preparation for higher education course is going to be better for you, because the advice that we offer is impartial. It's not about trying to recruit you onto a particular route. It's about figuring out what's going to suit you best. But I think that's given us a really good insight into the PHE programme. So thanks very much, Lynn, for a really engaging taster and a good overview. I think what we'll do now, if people feel like they could benefit from a very quick break, if that's still okay, could we just take a very quick comfort break and come back at 5 past, because we really want to also find out about the professional studies degree from Catherine. So we'll leave it there for now. If people have got questions in the chat, you don't need to leave or anything, just pop your cameras off and we'll start again at 5 past. Thank you.
So Olivia, it looks as though you're talking, but you've not got your microphone on, so I don't know whether you were just talking to yourself or... Yeah, that's all right then.
Yay, I can unmute myself now. I think my mouse has died, so I'm merrily clicking things and it's not working. I was just saying, I've popped there a message in the chat. If people can either put their cameras on or say hi in the chat, and then we know you're back. But I'm going to hand over to Catherine now to get started because we're running short of time. So hopefully most people are back in the room. Thanks, Martina and Freddie.
So yeah, hi everyone, I'm Catherine. I'm the Programme Manager for the Professional Studies degree. So what I'm going to do is just give you a little bit of a taster of this degree and explain, hi Barbara, and yes, feel free. And just to say, I think I've probably got this on the slide a bit later on, feel free to use the chat to talk, so I can see the chat and I can see all of you if you want to put your hand and talk. So at any point that you want to join in, but there will be specific points to join in as well. So I'm going to start with trying to explain a little bit about what professional studies is. It's a degree, it's a full degree, so it's something, as you heard from the Learning Champions at the beginning, quite a lot of people might do a foundation year or an access year first. Some people like Tracy and Maryam, who you heard from, came straight onto the degree. They came through our alternative entry scheme. So that's if you've got a bit of work experience, life experience, you've maybe got some things like GCSEs, or you've written reports at work, or you've done an NVQ. What we do is we've got an alternative entry scheme where we interview you, we get you to write an essay, and we see, have you already got the skills to come on to the degree? So that's the kind of thing, if you have a guidance appointment, you can explore what you might want to do. Anyway, so it's a degree designed specifically for mature students. So most people coming onto the degree are coming on with that really rich, interesting work experience, life experience, and we're trying to make the most of that in terms of how we teach and what we teach. I'll explain a little bit more about what it is, and then we'll have a bit of a taster, followed by another overview about what it is, and then a Q&A with me. I've put Q&A in twice. That's just really to say anytime you've got questions, ask. But I will also be trying to keep to time a little bit. So that's the only thing that will restrict us, because I want to make sure we've also got that time to have a bit of a discussion like we would on a professional studies module. So it's a degree where we put mature students at the centre. The best way to think about it is that it's split into 3 strands, all that you do at the same time. The first we can think of as the contemporary strand. That involves lots of modules that get you to think about the world that you live in now in different ways, understanding your own position in the world, starting to learn about different perspectives. That involves modules like exploring diversity, where you think about identity, who are you, what makes you who you are, what is happening in society that might affect who you are, or how you're treated or how you treat others, equality, diversity. We're going to have a tiny taster from that module in that section, the contemporary strand. You also think about health and society, so building actually on what Lynn was talking about. What is health? Do we all have the same access to be able to have good health, good healthcare? If not, why not? What happens? Which means that those inequalities might come in. We think a bit about policy. We think a bit about the history of healthcare. We think, and this is the same with the module, the degree all the way through, we also think about what should change, what is already changing, who's fighting for that change as well. And then other modules in that part of the degree are things like global perspectives. We think about issues that connect us all globally, like migration, like sustainability, what's happening to the environment, like global poverty, like different ideas of culture. You do a module with me that Suma mentioned that she particularly enjoyed, called Exploring Contemporary Issues, where we think about what does it mean to be human in the 21st century. We ask questions like, What's our relationship with technology? Are robots going to take over our jobs? Should animals or some animals have equal rights to humans? If they do, how would that change the way we live? The different cultural ideas around that. So we get quite deep in that module. So that's a little bit of a sense of the contemporary strand. So we look at it in what we call an interdisciplinary way, so not just one perspective, because our lives don't just come from one perspective, but from multiple different perspectives. We've also got the professional strand. So I've called that Who Can I Be? So in every year we have modules that are to do with your own career development, helping you think for you, what kind of career do you want to go into next? And the answer could be lots of different things because it's a very broad degree. What skills do you need to develop to go into different work sectors? How can you research what skills you're going to need? And how can you use the degree to start focusing in on that area? So that includes modules like employability in a changing world in the first year, where you're really thinking about what is it that I want to get out of the degree? How can I research areas of my own interest? What kind of work might I want to go into? Leadership for a Changing World, that Tracy's doing her assignment for Thursday, where we think about what kind of leadership do we have in the world at the moment? What leadership is needed to change things for the better? And students think about something they want to change and think, how would they lead on that change? So it's to really, all the time we're thinking about how can we help you with developing what you want to do next. The other thing that happens in that second strand is that every year you do a research module. So that's what Maryam was talking about, that you learn how to research areas of your own interest so that in the final year you can do your own research project. And that's what Tracy mentioned with the dissertation. And often that research project, again, is about something that relates to what you might want to do next or what you've got interested in through the degree. I'm thinking about this because I'm watching Tracy and her cat at the moment, but Tracy really has used it to develop an idea of something which needs to change in the world, thinking about those ideas of social justice. And then a third of the degree, you get to choose your own modules, so the things that you want to focus on yourself. Now, that could be through connecting with areas that we specialise in the Lifelong Learning Centre. So if you did that, that would be the pathway option, and that would either be joining modules for child and family studies, or learning and teaching, or business, leadership and business management, or creative writing. Or it could be that you join modules from across the university. So the university, different departments offer what are called discovery modules. And what that means is they're modules that are offered to anyone across the university. And there's loads of different departments that offer those, like sociology, history, cultural studies, different languages, events management, contemporary theatre, lots of different things. Law. So you could, sustainability, you could join those modules. Just to make it more complicated, you could do a mix of the two. So you could think, I'm particularly interested in business, but I've always wanted to learn Spanish. Or I'm really interested in trying out creative writing, but I think I want to become a social worker, so I'm mainly going to do child and family studies. And we support you with choosing what's best for you. There are some restrictions. It has to fit with your life, and it has to fit with the professional studies timetable as well. But we help you think about what's going to fit, what will work for you. So the way to see it is that you for yourself are building your degree with our help, building up a portfolio of relevant knowledge, skills and experience that's going to be useful for you with what you want to do next. And some people go on to it and can already go straight away into careers, especially different careers working with people. Other people, as Suma said, go on to do a master's to do that more specialist qualification in what it is they want to do. Any questions at this stage? Is that making anyone think, I wonder about this, or what about this? Not yet. Well, if you think of anything, feel free to put it in the chat. And after the taster, we will come back a bit. Yes, and Greg, if you're all right to share the course search link, that would be amazing. Thank you. I just feel cheeky having Greg as my special assistant, but it will save time. Yeah, it's a really good point to share that. And what you'll find on that, so while Greg's doing that, we're going to go to a little bit of a taster. It's a really mini taster, and it's sort of where we start on the degree on the Exploring Diversity module. And what we start with, oh, brilliant, Olivia's done that. We start with thinking about identity. So it's a big topic, but it's a really important topic because it helps us start thinking about, in a way, who are you? When you're starting the degree, who are you? What kind of things impact on who you are? So what I would like to do is for you to have a bit of a think about the questions that we start off. And Maryam's close enough to this that she might remember this session. We genuinely do this on the degree. So I want you to think a little bit for yourself about, if someone said to you, who are you? What would you say? And you could write down for yourself. If you want to share that, you could put it in the chat, but feel free to just think about it for yourself. And I also want you to think, why is that? Why might it be a difficult question to answer? The second thing I want you to think about, which again you could choose to share, is where do you belong? And it could be that you're thinking about a place or in a particular group, or where do you feel comfortable? So I'm just going to give about a minute or so to think of that. And once you start having ideas, feel free to either put your hand up to share or to put ideas in the chat. And I have got Tracy and Maryam here as well, so they're both, feel free to join in as well to help out. Okay, so just a couple of minutes to think about that. Okay, so that's a great start from Barbara. So she's gone with family first. Nice connection to Lynn's session. I'm a sibling of 7. We've got some large families in this group tonight. Brilliant. Anybody else think of family when you asked you that, or what else might you think of? Really nice. Barbara's on a roll tonight. I'm curious. Yeah. So it could be a state of mind. I really like that I'm a curious person, or I'm just curious. So it tells us something interesting about Barbara and maybe why you're here in this session. And that's another way you could think about it in this context. Who are you? So in this context, I wouldn't really say I was being a daughter or a partner. I'm being an educator, maybe. So Maryam said the first thing that came to mind was I'm a mum. And we saw that. We saw you being a mum. So that's a nice one. And daughter there as well. So we've got some more family relations. Anyone, when they were thinking about that, think of something different to family? Or anyone got any sense of that idea of where do you belong? Barbara?
Hi, I just wanted to say my job, actually. I'm a clinical support worker, so I thought I'll say my role.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
just didn't want to put in chat again because, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I've enjoyed your chat, but it's nice to hear your voice as well. So yeah, clinical support worker. So often, depending on the context, that might be what you say. And if you're asked at work, who are you? That might be the first thing that you say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly we go with our name, like I am so and so, most importantly. And then, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we're starting to get to the challenge, and it might be why a lot of people are being quiet, because it's almost too big a question, do you think? Or you need more context for the question? Because it could mean so many different things. It could feel too personal or too broad. We've got a couple of really nice ones from Tracy and Maryam as well in the chat. So Tracy's identified as a mature student. That's where she belongs, where she feels accepted. That's good to know. And Maryam's also talking about being an immigrated person, so an immigrant. Yeah, interesting. Any other thoughts? Let's have one more idea before we move on. Anyone else want to say what they might say if someone says, "Who are you?" or why that's a difficult question? So Bernardo, really nice. So you're learning. You're someone who's learning. And that's really nice to have. It's a bit like the curious, to have an action there instead. And Olivia, I feel really at home in Ireland, where my parents come from. So yeah, home isn't always where we are. That's a different kind of question we could have asked as well, isn't it? Where is your home? And it reminds me, I hope Freddie's not going to mind me saying this, but in the last session, when Lynn was talking about family, I was thinking family sometimes is where you feel as though you belong, and sometimes it's a family you choose. And me and Freddie sing in the same choir. And we sing a song called This Is Home. And in that song, we think about the fact that home can mean so many different things. And sometimes it means the people you sing with. So hopefully, Freddie, you haven't minded me sharing that. But yes. So I think some of the silence in the group is because this is difficult. And I think the answers have told us something, that this is a question that relies on context as well. And when we start thinking, well, there's a sort of who's asking and why are they asking part to this question that I think is really important to think about when we think about our identity. Who do we want to say we are? In what context, to which people? It's a more complicated question than you might think of. I should have shared that. I wanted to share it to give you the different questions. What we've been doing then is starting to think about ideas and thoughts. What I wanted to do now was just to read out a passage from a sociologist. So Lynn was talking about sociology in the last session, who helps us think about identity. But I'm going to look at these ideas. I nearly said I'm a human being. Amazing, Barbara. And you would be anticipating the second year module where we look at what does it mean to be human. So yeah, that would have also been a great answer. And absolutely, Lynn, sometimes it might be. That's a difficult question because we think, actually, that's made me stop and I don't know who I am. Maybe I'm on transition. Maybe I'm not just one thing. Maybe I don't want to pin myself down. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to read out this. So there's a book that a guy called Richard Jenkins wrote called Social Identity. And what he was thinking about is not who he was, but when we say identity and we talk about our identity, what are we talking about? And I'm just going to read it out and then think if we can think together, what do we think Richard Jenkins is saying here? And what we do on professional studies a lot is look at something together, to think together, what do we think this means? Because academic reading can be quite hard, but that's also because it can try to get us to think in different ways. And that's what being at university is all about. So Richard Jenkins says that identity is the human capacity rooted in language to know who's who and hence what's what. So he's saying how identity works for humans altogether. So he says this involves knowing who we are, knowing who others are, them knowing who we are, us knowing who they think we are, and so on. A multidimensional classification or mapping of the human world and our places in it as individuals and as members of collectivities. So it just means groups, collections of people. So then he says it is a process identification, not a thing. It is not someone that one can have or not. It is something that one does. So he ends with an idea that we do identity. It's not that we have identity. So there's a lot going on there. Is there anything there that people want to pick out? What do you think he's suggesting about what identity is? What kind of things is he saying there? Anyone want to have a go at picking out an idea and putting a hand up to talk about it, or writing in the chat? So Lynn's enjoying the quote. Great. Any thoughts? Martina.
Maybe that it's at first you think identity is something personal that you decide for yourself, but I think from this quote he thinks it's not. It's just something that we all decide together, kind of, or it's like unwritten rules or something where who you are, where you belong, where you're supposed to fit in, and it's not your individual decision or feeling at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just highlighting the bit that I think helps us think where Martina's got that from. So rather than, well, I just am who I am and I get to choose, we can say there's that sense, you can have that sense inside, but there's also how others see you, how you see them, all of that stuff going on as well. And I think Martina put it really brilliantly then, in terms of it's sort of something that we all negotiate, agree together, something that keeps changing because of that. Really good way to think about it. Anything else people got from the quote or from what Martina said that helps us think about identity? Barbara?
I just don't know. I'm just thinking sometimes is what people label you to be. And then obviously you know what they think you are. You just kind of like walk into the room and then they will think, oh, she's whatever ethnicity or whatever, they see as you are, the culture, or, some people are sort of identified by the complexion and the way they look, instead of having to introduce yourself the way you would like to be known as.
Absolutely, and a really, really important way to put it. And I've underlined to them knowing who we are, but it isn't necessarily that they know who we are. They think they know who we are, and they're choosing to put us in a category, or they're thinking they relate to us or they don't relate to us. And Barbara, you gave us some really good examples there of how we could feel as though we're being categorized or positioned by others. So it's a really, really good point. So is it our choice? But I also think, so Freddie's shared an idea in the chat about it partly is about your roots. So that's one of the ways we know who we are, where you are really, or where you're coming from. But it's interesting to think that part of that dynamic, so your roots and the people from your roots could be telling you you're this person. Other people could be interpreting you in a different way. And that becomes what Richard Jenkins says anyway, is that becomes part of your social identity. So the bigger version of who you are. Any other thoughts? Is that making sense, what he's saying there? The other thing that I think is interesting from this, that we talk about a lot on professional studies, is this idea of identification. So it's not something we just are, it's something we do. So it's something we might perform in different contexts, but we could also, Barbara gave us a really good example of how it's sometimes something that's done to us that we might not choose, but that someone else is doing to us. And that takes us to the last little bit that I was going to share that Jenkins talks about. So he talks about people categorize others all the time. So this is exactly what Barbara was talking about. She anticipated this. And as a matter of course, categorization is as much part of our subject matter as self-identification. Who we think we are is intimately related to who we think others are, and vice versa. So what Jenkins sort of suggests is we're all involved in this process of categorization. And we do it in the way we categorize ourselves and position ourselves in relation to other people. And because Tracy's been my student for a while, I'm going to pick out her quote because I'm going to hope this is okay. But I think that was happening with the mature student. I belong. Tracy was, something's been done to Tracy there. She feels accepted. She feels belonging, but she's also bringing that belonging back, identifying that and coming to talk to you all about it. So that's a process of categorization we could see is more positive than some of the ones that Barbara was talking about. So some takeaway reflections, because I want to give time for the final thinking about the degree. Some things to think about that we start to talk about then on professional studies is how do you get categorized by others? But also, how do you categorize others? What Richard Jenkins is saying, this is sort of a thing that's happening all the time, that it can be quite useful to kind of just think about a bit more. And a question we ask, because we're always wanting to look at the positive, is what can we do to move beyond categorizations which are unhelpful? So those ones that Barbara was starting to talk about, what does need to happen to start working out who someone really is beyond that, which I think is the kind of idea that Freddie was referring to. So I'm looking at the time and I'm thinking we need to get back to what professional studies is, because you might have questions. So that was just a little, and just to say, our teaching mainly happens on campus. So during COVID, I did quite a lot of this online teaching. I don't really do it much anymore. When we have that discussion, we have on all of our modules 2-hour workshops where you really get a good time on campus for different people to go into these discussions in depth. So what you've had is just a really tiny taster of the kind of discussion we might have. So if it felt like, oh, this is going a bit fast and I'm not ready to share ideas yet, hopefully that wouldn't feel like that on campus, because you would just get that extra time and you would get a chance to just talk to the person next to you, for example. So professional studies, this is just a little, you get these slides, a little sense of the people who teach on the degree, a different way of thinking about how the degree is structured, and a reminder of these are the things you could specialise in for that third strand. As I said, a lot of the teaching's on campus. These are some pictures from a taster day we did on campus, but to really show you, it's all about that discussion and learning from each other. It's about putting students and your experience at the centre and being interactive and making sure that everybody gets a voice. People often ask, but what can you do with professional studies? The degree's been running since 2013, so we had our first graduates in 2016, I think. And we've had people that have gone off to work for the Home Office, for the council as housing officers, for different community support organisations, in staff support for the Care Quality Commission, as business managers, prison educators. We've had people training to become teachers and social workers, and we've had people go on to do all sorts of different master's degrees in social research, social and political thought, like Suma talked about, international business, management consulting, occupational therapy. So there's lots of things that it can lead on to. Some of that will depend on what work experience and other study that you've done, but a lot of it you'll be able to go on just because you've done professional studies. Again, as I said, we'll share the slides, but if anyone's got any questions about anything that you've seen, do let me know. These are some of our graduates, just to give you a sense of the different kind of roles people have gone on to do. And yeah, if you've got any questions for me, that's what we're here for. So I'll end it there because you might have questions. And we can have this as questions for Lynn and for Olivia as well. A bit of a free for all.
Fantastic. Yeah, that was a really good little overview, Catherine, and a nice flavour of the kinds of things you can learn and also how people learn on the degree. So I hope it's given everyone here tonight a sense of how interactive it is as a programme and how it really is rooted in your knowledge and experience. Tracy, do you want to come in?
Hi. Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say quickly, obviously, for me, I didn't have a specific career. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So professional studies has just been fantastic. It's so broad. It touches on so many things, and it's kind of helped me focus where I now want to go, my passions. And I think she mentioned you can do the discovery modules, and I've done sociology, I've done theology, and I've done politics. And what I've learned in the professional studies modules has really helped me in them other discovery modules. For me, it's just been perfect. It's just been perfect because it's really helped me focus. And the exploring diversity, what that's done for me as well. It gave me a language. It gave me words, like when Lynn talked about your life experiences, and I was having some life experiences and I couldn't always articulate what was going on. And exploring diversity showed me that things like microaggressions, othering, all things like that I was experiencing in the real life, and I've been able to challenge things like that and make changes, and it's just been fantastic. So I'll just thank you for that. It's a fabulous degree, and I really love it.
Thank you, Tracy. It's great to hear your experience of how you've been able to apply what you've been learning to your own life and your journey as well. And I think that's something that people do commonly say. It's one of those things that they don't expect about how it maybe changes the way they think about their own life experiences and how they've got to where they are today and the things that have happened along the way. Has anyone got any questions that they'd like to ask about either of the programs or anything else that we might have touched on this evening? No, we're okay. Oh, Barbara, please do come in. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry. Just a quick question. If you are interested in any of these courses discussed, what's the next step to take? Is it to make an appointment with the is it the guidance?
Absolutely, that would be a really good place to start. So I've posted a link in the chat, and I'm going to share some slides if I can find the right window now, to just show you a little bit about the guidance service. So I'll go to that one first. Hopefully you can see that. Can you see that slide now about the advice and guidance?
Yes.
Kind of greenish one. Do I dare go to slideshow? I'll give it a go. So I've posted a link in the chat about our advice and guidance service, but this is Denise that I can't remember which of the learning champions I was talking about earlier, but Denise and Mohammed, two really experienced careers guidance advisors who can basically sit down with any adult who's 19 or over and doesn't already have a degree and just talk you through your options. And as we mentioned earlier, they're completely impartial. So they're really there to find the best route for you. It doesn't matter if it's not at Leeds, it doesn't matter if it's not at university. It's about finding what's going to work for you in the long term and fit around your responsibilities and get you to where you want to be, or figure out where you want to be, because we don't all necessarily know that. Oh, my screen's just gone completely blank. I hope you can still see things. My Wi-Fi is definitely playing up tonight. So I've put a link in the chat to if you'd like to book a guidance appointment, but we will also send you that link after this session, along with all the slides from Lynn and Catherine's sessions. So you'll be able to go back and look through exactly what we've covered this evening. Has my screen gone completely black? Can you?
Yes,
You can just see a
it
black
has.
screen.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good, isn't it? That's the wonders of technology. Okay, but we've explained the guidance service anyway, so you don't need to worry about that. I did also want to, it was Maryam, yes, thanks for clarifying that, Catherine. Denise, you can book to see online. Mohammed, you can book to see in person. And we've also got another lovely colleague, Claire, who's working with us at the moment and providing face-to-face advice and guidance. And they can really just help you work through all your options. The other things that I just wanted to highlight were the evaluation form. So I've put a link to that in the chat, and we will include this in the follow-up email. But if people could take a minute to just fill out the evaluation form, maybe before you log off this evening, it only takes a couple of minutes. We'd really appreciate that, because it gives us a chance to reflect and to learn from what works and what doesn't. And we really do always adapt these sessions to try and meet your needs and make sure that it's as appropriate as possible for where you're at. We've got a question there about cost. So let me just see if I can bring up the student finance slide quickly. Basically, we have a session coming up next week, Tuesday afternoon, about student finance, and we will cover exactly how it works in a lot more detail at that. But just a few key messages to share with you now. Hopefully you can see this blue slide with the little pig and who's graduating there. Cool. You don't pay up front to go to university, whether it's a foundation year like Lynn's preparation for higher education course or a degree. As long as you're personally eligible, you get a loan from the government to pay your tuition fees. Eligibility is based on your immigration status and how long you've been in the UK, and we can work that out with you in a guidance appointment, whether you're eligible now or whether it might be in a little while. It's also based on whether you have an equivalent level qualification, but that's all the kind of stuff that we can sit down one-to-one and help you suss out, because everyone's circumstances are different. But you get a loan as long as you're eligible from the government, which pays your fees, and you can also get a maintenance loan for your living costs. So a lot of our students who were formerly on benefits or in low paid work and are now full-time students, they'll often say they're no worse off, or in some cases they're better off. Some of them might be eligible for additional money, such as if they have a disability or if they're a carer, or if they're a parent. You can also get things like up to 80% of your childcare costs covered, and there's additional money like disability grants to help with different resources if you need specialist support. You don't pay the fees back as you go along, you pay them later on once you're earning over a certain amount. At the moment that threshold is £35,000, and the repayments are taken out of your wage with your tax and your national insurance, and they're taken at a very affordable amount. So just a very quick overview to just reassure you that it is possible. You don't have to have a load of money up front to be able to start a degree. But if you'd like to know more, it's really worth registering for the student finance session next Tuesday afternoon. And if you can't make that, we'll run one most months. They tend to be on an evening usually. We're just trying an afternoon. So if you can't come to that one, there'll be another one coming up in a month's time. I'm just going to quickly highlight, well, there it is. That's Tuesday the 25th of March. So again, you'll get a booking link if you want to come to that. And also, it's been lovely to have you here online tonight. But if you'd like to actually pop in person, we're having a drop-in on Thursday the 3rd of April, where you can meet some of the programme staff, you can chat to some students, you can actually have a bit of a look at the campus. So you'd be welcome to pop in at any time on that day between 10 and 1 and 4 and 6:30. We're asking people to book just so we roughly know how many are coming, but it's going to be very informal. And the last thing I will say, and then I will take any more comments and questions, is if you're thinking of applying, the next step would be have a guidance appointment, because you want to make sure that this is right for you. And then if you get to the stage where you're going to do an application and that it's all done online now, which might be simpler for some people, but there's a few different steps to it. We're going to be running these drop-ins every Tuesday afternoon from April right through till the end of July to support people who are applying. We're actually going to do them in August, but a lot of these courses will close at the beginning of August. So this the staff will be on hand to help you with student finance applications, filling in the online application form, writing a personal statement, because every student is asked now to say something about why they want to do the course and where they're at in their lives, as you've heard the Learning Champions do this evening, and we can support you with that and just now help guide you through.
Oh no.
Of this with you after the event. Are you all right, Barbara?
We lost you for a second, but you came back.
Oh, okay. Basically, the short answer to all of that is there is help. You're not on your own. Don't feel like if you go away with a load of questions tonight, we're here to guide you through the process over the next few months. Has anyone got any questions or anything they'd like to share before we finish? Barbara, you've had your hand up and been waiting very patiently.
Wanted to I think you sort of like covered everything I wanted to ask.
Oh, that's good.
Guidance team, I think they would probably answer the question to do with the intake. Was it for this year? And then you mentioned that the course will be closed in August, meaning that the intake will be September, I hope. Well, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's a few exceptions, but both of the courses will start in late September. They'll run through till like the second week of December. You have a month off at Christmas, a month off at Easter. You finish around mid-May, so it isn't even a full school year. And whilst there will be some applications we can accept a bit later, if you have any kind of conditions or things that you need to do to be ready to apply, it's best to get the applications in by, I'd say, July ideally, but we can help you with that. Okay, well, I just want to say thank you very much to Lynn and Catherine for delivering 2 really interesting and engaging sessions, and thank you to our students for giving up their time. Thanks for staying with us, Tracy, when you're so busy. We really appreciate you being here and chipping into the discussion throughout. And most of all, thank you to all of you for spending your Tuesday evening with us, and for asking questions and participating in the chat and sharing your experience. It makes it a lot more enjoyable and interesting for us. Would anyone like to say anything else before we close?
I'm clear. Thank you. The session was amazing.
Well,
oh, sorry, I was reading what hyped.
It was lovely to hear.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for your contributions. It's lovely to meet you.
Same here. Thank you, everybody. Lovely to chat to you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, guys. Good luck. We'll see you again. Take care. Good night now. Enjoy
Thank
your
you.
evening.
Have a lovely evening.
Bye.